You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
It's the playoff preview to end all playoff previews. Your one-stop shop. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by Hockey Insider, the guy who's played for every team in North America, the guy who's coached the game, the guy who studies the game, the guy who is my friend, Wacey Rabbit.
There's a saying that I've been around the world twice, and I've played for every team once. So I am more, not so much an insider, but an outsider looking at it.
The one country you played in where you, if you were given $1 billion, you would go back to immediately?
Norway, 100%.
Okay. Norway, we're open to funding from your tourism to go tape our show there. But that's for another day. We're here to talk playoffs. And here's what we're going to do. Wacey's suggestion, we were talking on the phone like we do every day. And he said, let's flip a coin. And then we go back and forth with teams that are playing each other. And we have to make the case for each team. So the one guy gets the one pick. The other guy has to defend the otother team. So that's what we're going to do. Wacey, I'm flipping a coin. We're starting in the East with the Caps and Canadiens. What are you calling?
Go heads, please.
Heads, okay. I got to do another flip here. We've got heads. Okay. Caps and Canadiens. The Capitals are the overwhelming favorite out of any team playing in the first round, minus 275. Well, the Canadiens are at plus 216. Who you got?
Well, our close friend, Buck. I just got off the phone with him, and he said if I don't pick Montreal in 6, then I can never hang around Calgary ever again. So I have Montreal in 6.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. I feel like the Ovi chase is over. The Capitals, they've been kind of reeling down the stretch here, and it's a hostile building. Montreal, Washington, you can't go wrong. So those young bucks are going to be, and then Demidov. They're going to be flying. They're going to be reeling. So that's the upset that I have in the playoffs, is that the number one is going to be knocked off by these young guys in Montreal.
And they're young Russian, that guy who got singled out on his back check or lack thereof. That's maybe the best thing that could have ever happened to him. I
think so. I think he's a young man. He's skilled. And, you're playing with house money. He's got no dog in the fight. He's just there to score some goals, have some fun. Everybody's excited. They met him at Pearson, and now he gets to meet Ovi.
That's the problem. So that's why I'm taking the Caps. It pains me because I'm a former Montreal Canadiens fan. Patrick Waugh was my guy. I stopped being a Habs fan when they traded Patrick Waugh, and I've been a free agent ever since. So I have no problem picking the Capitals. You said it's a detriment. You think the Ovechkin stuff, they were all in search of that. No, they want to add on to that. They want to add a cup to the Ovechkin record-breaking season. Ovi knows this might be his last shot. If you want a guy making a pep talk to a team before every game, Ovi is the one guy I would single out in the NHL that is in the postseason right now who can single-handedly motivate his team. So I'm taking the Capitals in 5 over the Montreal Canadiens.
You're only giving them one win. All right. Okay.
Yeah, because they need Ovi's. That's one of his pep talks is going to be, I need rest, guys. Guys, I need rest.
I would also like to see an Ovi, his Stanley Cup, what he does to celebrate for a second time after beating Gretzky's record. Can you imagine? Do you think Trump will lift the tariffs?
Because he was jumping into fountains. I say he's going to do it completely opposite, and it's going to be the dignified Alex Ovechkin on this cup win.
Yeah, he's going to be regal. He's going to show you guys how to do it. But he'll also apparently bands will make you dance. So Habs in 6, I still stamp my approval. Ovi's got nothing.
Next series is the Hurricanes-Devils. The Hurricanes are the second biggest favorite in the first round at minus 240 against the Devils plus 195. It is the one series that barely anyone will watch. Fun fact, when these teams met in 2002, I reported on this series, and it is the one time in which I jumped on a plane, had to get to New Jersey, and I had food poisoning. Mid-flight, the food poisoning said, we need everything out of your body immediately. While we landed, I was still in the lavatory. The flight attendant said, sir, you can't be in there. I said, I can't be anywhere else. She said, well, hang on then. So the plane landed with me sitting on the can as I went to report on the Hurricanes and Devils. I have to take the Hurricanes here. The Devils, they're dealing with injuries. It's a team I know nothing about. So I'm going Hurricanes in 4 for the only reason as the Vegas says that they're the favorites. I'm going with the favorite status given to the Canes.
That your pick right there just kind of summed up your trip to Newark, New Jersey. Spending in the laboratory. It is a very poopy pick. You got to remember the Devils have Markstrom. They have a healthy Dougie Hamilton coming back. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt. They have all those young guys, and it's kind of like the Who Cares Cup, right? I feel like it's not sexy because it's Newark, New Jersey, and Raleigh, North Carolina, but we got Rod the Bot on your side, and we got Sheldon Keefe. He's his adjustments. He wants to prove himself in the playoffs. You know, I'm a coach that can win. I got out of Toronto, and I got these young bucks. So I'm going to go with New Jersey in 7.
You mentioned Rob Brindamore. So while I was suffering from food poisoning and I had to do after period interviews, and I was talking to Rod the Bod, and Marty Brodeur was standing on his head. And I said to Brindamore on live TV, they got quite the goalie over there, eh? And he's like, what kind of a question is that? And I've never been so scared in my life. I'm like, I think he might punch me. I was like trying to be the young, hip reporter. Like, he's never heard a question like this. And he let me know never to ask a question like that again. He's intimidating.
That wasn't even a question. That was a statement. And it's just, there's probably a reason why you weren't invited back. He's an intense guy. He's an intense individual. You got to just look at him on the bench and like, he feels like he should be out there, but he can't. And there's just this inner that he's just battling inside. So he probably like tells his players to go skate as hard as you possibly can. And that's, I don't know, man.
The odds are he's the most in shape person in that organization. Still,
I think he's the most in shape person anywhere. I started working out and I'm still not even close to Rod the Bot. And he's what, 50, 52?
Well, you do 10 minutes on the treadmill and then just the rest of the time on your phone. So
no, and then the steam room executive. I still sweat. Okay.
Golden Knights and Wild. The Golden Knights are the favorites here at minus 220. Who do you get the first pick in this series?
I really like the Wild. This would kind of be another upset that I would like to pick, but I can't go against the Vegas odds, a Vegas team, and Bruce Cassidy. I have the Knights going far if it's not a couple other teams in the West. You look at the depth they have on D, the players they have up front. Jack Eichel, you know, I think he's probably one of the best centermen in the league that's not named McDavid or McKinnon. So I have Vegas in 6.
I'm going with the Wild because they're a team that will take it with a chip on their shoulder and say no one is picking us. No one even knows who's on our team, including me. And no one has us to do anything. So this is our time, baby. You're playing with a loose squad that has absolutely, Wacey, nothing to lose. And you've played a lot of hockey. Those are sometimes the most dangerous teams to play against.
That's not true. They have Mr. Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek and Norway's tourism. They're the poster boy, Zuccarello. Okay. They're not the mid 2000s trap it up Minnesota Wild. These guys can run and gun. And
is Mark Parrish still on the Wild?
I don't know if he's on the Wild, but he is Wild. And I'm sure he's in Minnesota somewhere. So hopefully we get to see him at a game, just getting that crowd going. Yeah,
if they have someone, if they've got a horn in Minnesota, maybe they'll get Perry to do that. A friend of this podcast. Okay, so the last series we're going like back and forth between the East and West. I put these in no specific order.
It's okay. It's the boomsies. We just shoot from our hip, and then we can just.
This one's easy. Jets and Blues. Jets are the favorite team here. Minus 195 to the Blues, plus 160. The Winnipeg Jets, with the best goalie in the NHL, Connor Hellebuyck, who may win the Hart. He leads every statistical category for goaltenders. The Minnesota Wild, who had great teams the last 2 years and were bounced in the first round. They've got a lot of pressure, but they've learned a lot of lessons. The Winnipeg Jets will dismantle the Blues in 6 games. This is a series they know they have to win. Added pressure, bring it on, says the Winnipeg Jets. They take this series.
You think so?
You think history's going to repeat itself?
Well, yeah. They are literally the hottest team in the NHL post when did they make that move. And there's also the Jim Montgomery factor.
Yeah, Monty.
A couple former Edmonton Oilers. I don't know if Dylan Holloway is going to be healthy for this, but, Broberg has been playing amazing. I think they're going to have a healthy Parayko. There's a Saskatchewan boy named, the Battle of the Sheds, Battle of Saskatchewan. And I think our captain in St. Louis will, I don't know, Winnipeg is good, obviously, but there's always that question mark. Can they get over that hump? And this is probably one of the worst matchups they could ask for is, St. Louis is literally playing with house money. If we're in Vegas, someone slipped a $100, they're playing with $200, going to the Baccarat table or the roulette table, and they're just letting it fly because they weren't supposed to be here. And they have Jordan Binnington, who will probably fight every Winnipeg Jet if they don't win. So I got the Blues in 7.
Wacey, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the fact that it's Hellebuyck versus Binnington, which what we saw in the Four Nations face-off, and Binnington won that battle. And in that series, a lot of the same friends that we share, I would call them and say, oh, man, Canada needs to make a change in goal. To a man, every person who has played against Binnington knows his character, says, just wait. Just wait until everything is on the line, and you'll see the goalie that they have in net. And that's exactly what happened. So can he do that every single game, which he'll have to do against the Jets?
2 games. He needs to steal them 2 games. One of them will have to be in Winnipeg. And if he can steal one of those 2 games in Winnipeg, I think my St. Louis Blues, Gloria, Gloria. I just want to hear that song again. I really enjoyed that song.
Now we go to, it's a sad series in the fact that it pits 2 Canadian teams against each other. And that means we 1,000% have one Canadian team leaving the postseason in the first round, no matter what happens. So it's sad that's going to happen, but it's also amazing that it's the Leafs and Sens in the first round. The Battle of Ontario. Since I do a lot of things on the Leafs this year, and I talk about them a lot, my heart would love to pick the Ottawa Senators, but my brains say the Toronto Maple Leafs are a team that is built to win, and the Toronto Maple Leafs take this series in 6.
It's my turn to pick, though.
Yeah. Oh.
We flipped the
Well,
coin.
you're taking the Senators now.
It's okay. I was going to take the Senators anyways. So I'll let you finish on your maple laughs, the center of the universe, and then I will rebuttal as to why you were wrong twice.
I just think that this team has learned their lessons. It's like the Ottawa or the Edmonton Oilers of old. They had to lose before they won. And the Leafs have made the changes that they needed to make. They have the battle scars to survive the postseason. They weren't prepared before. We saw the clips of them on the bench. There was infighting on the bench. All that is gone. The Toronto Maple Leafs are now ready for the postseason. It only took them 30 years, but they finally figured it out.
Yeah, what was that omen? When the last time the Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, and the Detroit Red Wings didn't make the playoffs, was that the year that they won it?
The Leafs won the cup.
But the Ottawa Senators were not in the league, and neither was Brady Tkachuk. So it's funny that you guys had to hire Tree Livin and Berube, two Western Canadian boys, to come show those Torontonians. Is it Toronto Twins? Torontonians? But anyways.
Torontonians.
Yeah, that's what I said. How to win. But we have Jake Sanderson, although American, born and raised in Calgary. Brady Tkachuk, who might as well be from Manitoba, small town Manitoba, the way he plays, right? Yeah. Somewhere in Dauphin or somewhere middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan. And Tim Stützle, he's from Dusseldorf or Cologne, Germany, which is basically like being from High River in Alberta. Like, he's got skill, they got snarl, and nobody's talked about it yet. And I think he's the X factor going through these playoffs, especially this series with Toronto, is Linus Ullmark. He could, the former Vezina trophy winner in net, he wants to show everybody in Canada that, you know what, this is my time. I left Boston and I took over Canada. So, Sens in 7.
You know what the Sens also have going for them? If you pay attention to Sens Twitter and Sens Instagram, they have a very passionate fan base that has been waiting for this moment. So when the series shifts from Toronto to Ottawa, you're going to see a very different contrast between buildings. Toronto is notorious for a quiet building, and Ottawa is going to take that to heart and say, this is how a building should sound. So I think the Ottawa Senators crowd is going to have something very big to say in this series.
Yeah, and it'll be fun. Battle of Ontario. It's not quite the Battle of Alberta. I think that's the series to watch, other than the one in Florida. But I think hockey needs this. I feel like it should be a conference final rather than the first round. But that's Gary's NHL now. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And you mentioned the Florida series. That's our next one. And it's essentially a pick-em between the Lightning and Panthers. And I have first pick here.
Do you? Because you picked first last 3 times, though.
You can pick first here because it's a pick 'em here too. I can go with either one of these teams. I have no horse in the show. Pony in the. I've got no dog in the race.
Well, I hope you're not.
To say?
I hope you're not fighting horses. I think it's dog in the fight. But
I've got no dog in the fight, Wacey. So you pick.
You go first. You go first. It's
okay. Well, I'm going with the Florida Panthers.
Okay,
you can't go against
them,
the champs.
I was going to pick them. But okay. No, you go.
You can't pick against the champs. They have had not a season in which they won the division, but you don't want to win the division. The higher you finish in the standings in the NHL, it seems to be the worse you do in the postseason, especially if you win the President's Trophy. So the Florida Panthers, been there, done that, and any mistakes they may have made on the journey the last time they did this, which was last year, they'll even correct those. So they may be even better this season because they know how to do it. They have the blueprints, and they can just refer to those at any point during this series. Florida Panthers in 5.
Everything you just said, I could counter with 2-time Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning.
But no Steven Stamkos. They did a Stammer.
Even better. We get the old guys out of there. We have the new guys coming in. We got Gensel, Vasilevsky still really tall and doing Russian goaltending things. Kucherov is still doing Kucherov things and making behind the no look, one eye open, eyes crossed, passes through the seam to Braden Point. I don't know. And you have those two guys that are. What I'm most excited about is to see the Marchand, Tkachuk, Bennett versus the Cirelli, Paul, like that line, like those two guys going like those two lines going head to head, and then Victor Hedman is Aaron Ekblad still? Is he back? Is he going to be back? Did his steroids leave his system? Is Gary allowed to? But
I can't believe Hedman's still playing. What is he in his 21st season?
At least. But he finished top 5 in D scoring. He's still got it. He's really long.
Yeah, of course he does.
I feel like those long defensemen can always just, like Zdeno Chara, you can play into your 40s as long as you're long. That's why I didn't play very long. I'm short. I'm opposite.
Sammy Sallow played forever too.
Yes. And I don't know, just this. It sucks that we have to have these two teams. One of them is going to leave the first round. This is like this is the conference final. I feel both teams smash mouth hockey, high end skill. I have Tampa in 7. Although, is Tkachuk healthy? Right? I think that's the X factor in this series. Is Tkachuk healthy? Because you have the Marchand, the Sam Bennett, Barkov's most underrated player in the NHL, but is Matthew Tkachuk? He's the straw that stirs that drink. Is he healthy? If he's not, it's going to be a long series, and I feel a healthy Tampa Bay will take it in 7.
Our last 2 series may be the most watched, the most exciting of all the series in the first round. By the way, we haven't even touched upon the fact that the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Wacey, are the greatest 2 weeks in all of sports. Anything and everything can happen, and it always does.
It's that Saturday, that first Saturday. Obviously, it won't happen this Saturday because I think the Four Nations and they wanted teams rest. But the next Saturday, it starts at noon or 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. and it goes all the way till midnight. There's a hockey game on, and it's the best time in sports. There's the Masters is over. We can get the other sports out of the way. March Madness is over, all that other stuff. Blue Jays, they're playing one of 168. Let's get the men to work. Put the kids to sleep. Give the wife some wine. Dad is home, and we're watching some hockey.
So, Wacey, just looking at the schedule, starting Saturday night, we have 2 games there. After that, there's minimum 3 games per day for the next 2 weeks of playoff hockey. It's awesome. Okay, so, Wacey, you get the first pick here. You are in Alberta. You have the Kings, who are the underdogs in this series against the Edmonton Oilers, who are minus 121. Kings and Oilers, this is a very tough matchup for the Edmonton Oilers. Who are you taking?
Well, as you can see, I'm in beautiful Calgary right now. There's the sun shining, blue skies, cars driving, no potholes. And inside, I cannot ever pick the Edmonton Oilers. Even if the Kings were the underdogs, they're gonna, there's no chance. I cannot pick the Edmonton Oilers. I have the Kings upsetting Oilers Nation up north in 6 games. Quinton Byfield, Anze Kopitar, Adrian Kempe. Everyone talks about Edmonton Oilers speed. Edmonton's they're older. They're a little bit longer in the tooth. Are they injured? Is Nick Jesus, is he healthy? Leon, is he healthy? Ekholm, the only guy that plays defense on that entire team, is out. I have Kings in 6, and I will personally drive up to Edmonton, and I will hand out Kleenex boxes and tissues to the entire 780. Anybody north of Red Deer, I apologize. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Let's crown a new champion, and those are my Los Angeles Kings.
Okay, the Edmonton Oilers, Wacey, I was actually talking to you about this the other day. I said, I don't know what it is, but we have heard nothing this season about the Oilers. I know it's a big country, so we don't get to see a lot of the Oilers games unless you stay up late. I've seen like one highlight reel goal from Connor McDavid. And with all that in mind, I think that's a benefit for the Edmonton Oilers because they've gotten away from the flashy. They've gotten away from the, hey, let's wow everyone to, as you said earlier, let the men get to work. They're now doing the work. They're preparing. They've been preparing for the last month for the postseason. They know they can't rely on two guys, Draisaitl and McDavid, in the first round. They know they can't lean on those guys because what's happened the last few runs for the Edmonton Oilers? Nothing left in the tank. The only question mark, and Oilers fans will agree with this, is in net. So you've got Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner. I don't even know if they've named a starter yet. But that is the biggest question mark for the Edmonton Oilers. They built a cup-winning team, a potential cup-winning team, and forgot what was between the pipes. Would you agree with me there that the Oilers' biggest question mark is in goal?
I think so. That Vancouver series last year is going to pop up in Stuart Skinner's mind every time he goes into that net in playoffs. That you have Calvin Pickard, good backup. Stuart Skinner, unproven. Darcy Kemper on the other side, Stanley Cup champion. Right? So I think that's the biggest factor that everyone's going to be concerned about in Edmonton is, can Stuart Skinner, can he just stop that one that needs to be stopped, right?
And I mentioned the Senators crowd, how jazzed they're going to be. They're going to be jacked. The Oilers fans, they're going
rabid.
to be so nervous that they're going to be afraid to watch hockey. They're going to be sitting and trembling the entire series.
The last 2 or 3 series, everybody's mentioned, can we get a goalie? And that fan base is tired of those deflating goals that should have been stopped, or they just scored, the crowd's pumping, then all of a sudden the puck is inside their net. There's nothing more deflating, and I don't think a fan base that could turn on their goalie as quick as the Oilers I've ever seen in my entire life as the Edmonton Oilers fan base, and I'm excited. I'm here for it. I'm so pumped.
So Wacey, I've mentioned before that I was a goalie, and you mentioned those bad goals. So at least once a game, I'd let one in, and then it was the days where you would get the glare. My defensemen, if they could shoot lasers out of their eyes, I got that, and I'm like, I wanted to crawl into a hole. And you don't think Oilers players want to do that, but they know a camera's on them. They can't glance at the goalie after a softie.
My one attempt to play goal just reminds me of the Edmonton Oilers. We had a very good team. I was 5, and we're playing a team that we've probably beat by 10 the entire season. And it is halfway through the game, and we are up by 1. It is 12-11, and I'm crying in net, and I want to leave the net. And my parents are telling the coaches to, no, keep him in. He needs to understand what it is to be a goalie, and I never went back in net. And that, I feel that's like, you have your teammates and the entire fan base, and there's the parents of Stuart Skinner says, no, you stay in net.
You allowed 12 goals?
I had allowed 14. We won 15-14.
Did you stop any?
but I think one on accident and a couple in warm-ups. But my save percentage was not good.
Our final series. I'm taking. Did I say the Oilers? I'm going to say Oilers in 6, and you said Kings in how many?
In 6.
Okay. The final series is maybe the most highly anticipated. It will be the most watched series in North America. It's the Avs and Stars. Whoever comes out of this series is going to have nothing left in the tank. This series, one thing is certain, it will go 7. My pick, I am taking the Colorado Avalanche for the simple fact that they have 2 of the best players in the league on their team. And they've got one at the back end, one at the front end. And that is McKinnon and Makar. You've got the 2 best players at their position. That gets you a first-round victory in my mind. And the Avs go in as the favorites at -150, Stars plus 125.
Play responsibly. I agree with that. Before, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had the Stars after the Rantanen trade. Jason Robertson was seen walking out in a knee brace. Miro Heiskanen, that's kind of, if he plays, there's your answer to Makar. But yeah, I can't. This series is going to be, it's 2 juggernauts. I feel this should be not even a conference final. This should be a Stanley Cup final. You have 2 of the top teams from goaltending out, your defensemen, your forwards, both coaches. It sucks that they're going to be beat up because I feel this will be whoever wins this series will win the Stanley Cup. I had the Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. I don't know if they have the depth to match Dallas. I know Tyler Seguin's coming back. Jamie Benn is a playoff performer. He's proven it. And I love the way the Stars play. And Ottinger he can steal a series single-handedly just by himself. I've seen him do it. Goaltending for the USA, he's one of the top guys, one of those top young guys coming up for the United States. And this is his time. I feel this is his time to show, you know what? You have Connor Hellebuck up north, Jacob Markstrom out east, and now it's Ottinger down south in Texas. I have the Stars in 7. Let's go.
I hope the Stars bring out their neon jerseys for one of the games in this series because I love them. And whenever I think of Nate McKinnon, I think of a quote that I read online once, and it sticks with me. And whenever I think of him, I think of this quote, and you tell me if it's a true description of Nate McKinnon. It said, Nate McKinnon skates like he's mad at the ice.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a perfect description. He's like,
I'm going to skate so fast because I'm so mad. I don't know why I'm so mad. I have so much money. I score every time I go down the ice, but I'm still upset.
Because he wants to win, and that's the guy you want on your team. You want a guy who players have said, yeah, he's tough to play with because he doesn't take a day off. And you're in practice, and you're like, can we take one day off? And he's like, no, I want that guy leading my team.
You'll be like, yeah, Nate, I'll be ready to go. It's 10 a.m. at pregame skate. You can calm it down. I'll be ready to go at 7. I don't know. He must be.
Do you think Nate shows up to the rink like the guys that you had on your team who would come in full gear to the rink?
Mom is bringing in the bag. They're walking in with the Pepsi, just full gear, just lifting the cage, drinking the Coca-Cola.
I wouldn't be surprised because that's when a kid showed up in full gear, you know that kid has been thinking about playing in this game all day, that they couldn't wait to get to the rink to put on their gear. They had to put it on now.
Yeah. Like, Mom, I know the game's at 8, but I'm putting it on before I go to school, and I'm going to wear it all day at school. I'm going to get questions about it, and I'm going to say, it's game day, baby. And that's Nathan McKinnon.
Nate, that would be there's a good marketing campaign for the NHL where they've got, hey, it's game day. And Nate McKinnon, like, going to Starbucks, and he's in full gear. He's, like, dropping the
He's getting his dry cleaning, dropping the dry cleaning. Yep.
Yeah.
The dry cleaning. He's on a date night before. He's on a date, full gear. Game day.
I love it. Well, Wacey, we got our picks, and I have the Avs in 7 there. You have the Stars in 7. That's the one thing we agreed on is that series goes 7 games. I love that we have a lot of Canadian content. I would be remiss if I didn't let you share your thoughts on the Calgary Flames, who came so close, yet so far.
Yeah, that's since 1986, as long as I've been alive. That's other than when they won the cup, but I was too young to I think it was 4 when they won the cup, so I didn't get to experience that. I got to do the 04. I was in high school when
the
they
Red
almost
Mile?
won. The Red Mile.
I saw you. I saw you on videos on the Red Mile with no shirt on.
Yeah. Well, they asked. They said, shirts off or Kiprusoff. And Kipper was my guy, so I ripped the tarp off.
Yeah.
No, and in all seriousness, I do trust Craig Conroy. You watched last night, Zane Parekh scored his first goal. Sam Morton. There is a direction now. But this season just kind of summed up what it is to be a Calgary Flames fan. Even if we finish top 10, that's sad because we had a very bad season. We had a great season the other way, and we still couldn't, make it. There was a couple times where I think the Anaheim games, when they were up by 2, that's an extra point that if they do get those points. And you don't want to rely on other teams. That's always the worst. The last couple of games, you're scoreboard watching, but the future is bright. I do believe that Craig has our team going in the right direction. We need a centerman, we need some top end skill. There's a guy down the QE1 in Medicine Hat right now that, given under the right circumstances, maybe you trade a couple of veterans away that we'll have a chance of picking McKenna. That guy is obviously he's a player that can change your organization as soon as you draft him. He's a skilled player, and we need that type of skill. You look at the way the direction's going, that the Flames are going. They're young, they're skilled, but right now it's peak sadness because we lose our first round pick to Montreal. We waited all year to maybe get into playoffs. We don't get into playoffs. It's Friday here. There's no hockey other than some junior hockey, but our Calgary Flames are out. And I've said that since 1986, and hopefully one day that'll change.
Hey, the good news is, Wacey, the rumor is the Lord is going to rise from the dead this weekend. So
in 3 days.
3 days, baby. He's like, give me 3 days. Just give me 3 days. I'll be back.
I think. Are you guys going to eat? Do you guys do turkey? If you eat, I think ham?
It's a Easter ham.
Yeah, I like a good Easter ham, like a honey glazed ham. It's do you do like scalloped potatoes, some veggies?
Lacey,
I put the veggies to
I
the
get
side.
the invite from my mom. She tells me what time to show up with everyone, and I show up at that time. I put no thought into what we're going to eat. I just know I don't have to cook it, and I'm overjoyed.
Do you have to do dishes? Do you have to do cleanup?
Oh, of course. I wash them all up after because let everyone do their thing. I can get into my own world in the soap and suds.
Yeah, that's what if you cook, you don't have to clean type of thing. And I don't cook, so I'm always cleaning.
My brother Vince, he does neither. He so much doesn't take part. He doesn't even bring his plate into the kitchen. He's got it all figured out.
Well, I had fun, Daniel. Thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
Wace, great idea, going back and forth. So that left every team with someone rooting for them and giving their strong points. And I think we accomplished what we set out to do. Happy Easter. And let the Easter Bunny bring what you requested.
Well, I am the Easter Bunny. Wacey Rabbit.
Hey!
I'm ripping the mask off. It's me. It was me the whole time.
Nice work.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.